Chrysanthemums might look super detailed, but in this video, I'll share my step-by-step process so that you can draw the November birth flower. Hey friends, welcome back. My name is Shayda, and on this channel we get creative together. Today, I'm going to share how to draw the November birth flower, chrysanthemums. Here's a quick supply rundown. You'll want a sketchbook. I'm using the Strathmore Mixed Media. I also have a pencil. I have a couple of fine liners in different nib sizes, an eraser, and a cup of tea, of course. We'll begin by drawing a circle. Don't make it too big. I find these are much easier to draw a little smaller. So it's kind of like a squished circle. And then we're going to divide that circle using 2 or 3 curving lines. And I just like to erase them a little bit. I don't like to have a lot of sketchy marks because you'll see what we're going to do next is fill in each little section with all these tiny little oval-shaped petals. They're almost like little fingers. And we'll even put a few more along the back, kind of peeking out from the top of that circle. And right now we're just creating our guide, so don't worry too much about shape. As you start to draw some petals falling away from that initial circle, you can think a little bit more about shape. You see me making ones of different sizes here. But remember, this is just your initial sketch, so nothing has to be like final. I'll put a stem on it there, and then let's draw another one together as well, just so you really get the hang of this. So I'm drawing a circle. It's kind of a squished circle. I guess you would call that an oval. And we're gonna divide it using 3 curving lines. And then we make these little finger-shaped petals. And you'll notice if we get close here that although I follow my guidelines, I also let the petals overlap a little bit. Then I start to add larger petals kind of falling away from the initial circle, as well as the little ones tucked in behind at the top of the circle. With our initial sketch almost done, I'm just going to draw a few leaves. They're kind of scraggly, and I always like to add at least one tucked in behind the flowers. It just gives a nice organic look, but that's it. Sketch done. I am going to take my fine liner and we're going to start going over everything. And now is when you're really gonna, give a little more care to all those many, many tiny finger-shaped petals. So now we can think about shape. And I like to kind of wiggle the pen a little bit to make sure that my lines aren't too straight or too smooth. All of these petals should look a little weird, a little wonky, as I always say, a little bit broken. And although you're going for a somewhat balanced look within the circle, you don't want perfect balance, especially when it comes to these petals that are falling away. You can do more on one side, leave a little gap at the front, make it look like it would in nature, which is a little wrong, a little bit odd, very unbalanced. Okay, I think I'm about done my contour drawing for that first blossom. We'll move on to the second one. It doesn't matter where you want to begin when it comes to the fine liner illustration. You could work out, you could work inwards. Just be careful to make sure that your petals do look like they're overlapping. That's the only thing you want to achieve. But if you've sketched it in pencil, you should be absolutely fine when you go to do it in pen. I like to do things in pencil first. It gives me the confidence, really, when I'm working in pen. With that blossom all done, I'm going to go over the stems. I like to do kind of a double line so that they're not too thin, so that they look thick enough to support these large chrysanthemum blossoms. So double line for the stem, and I'm just going over my scraggly leaves there. I kind of shake and wiggle the pen a little wee bit. Helps me get that nice natural organic look. And then that is my contour drawing all done. So I think the only thing to do now is have a sip of tea, of course, and then we will erase all of those pencil sketch marks. I like to add shading to my contour drawings, and I find it's much easier if you just get rid of all the pencil marks first. Although this contour drawing looks lovely, we could just leave it alone. You don't necessarily have to do the shading step. First things first, I'm just going to put an extra petal or whatever where I might want one. We'll add some lines to those leaves. So finishing off my contour drawing, I don't know what it is about the mums. You'll just look at them and you'll think, I need a little petal there. I need one last petal over on that side. And then, okay, now officially the contour drawing is done. I'm going to use a smaller nib. This is the 3 millimeter. I used quite a large nib for these drawings, so I don't need to drop down that far. And we're just going to start doing some small shading lines. Now, because everything's growing up towards the sun, I like to put some shading lines at the base of each little petal. Naturally, that area would be darker. It's receding down towards the earth. The sun's not going to hit it. My light source is from directly above. You know, as the artist, you choose the light source. So I am placing all these tiny little shading lines at the base of each petal. And using a smaller fine liner, a smaller nib, is going to give you a lot of precision, and it's also going to differentiate between what is, you know, the contour drawing and what is the shading. So having a couple fine liners in your pencil case, you'll find, I think, really, really helpful. But you could do this with the same pen if you only have one. Just try to go really lightly if you can. I'm kind of moving all around here, and I'm also shading the stems as well as all these little petals. I made the stems quite dark at the top to show that the sun wouldn't hit, you know, underneath the flower. And one other tip is just to let your shading lines move in the same direction as the thing that you're shading. So follow the lines of the petal, follow the shape of the leaf. I think you really see it on the leaves here. You want those shading lines kind of shaped the same way that the leaf is shaped. And that's just going to make everything look super organic and really thoughtful. And that's it. Those are my chrysanthemums all done. I hope you enjoyed learning to draw the November birth flower. This one looks detailed, but it's not hard. You can draw it, I promise you. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you soon with a new tutorial.